What's going on, everyone? We're back at it again. Some more developing. It's really inspirational. We're doing some inspiring stuff. All right. Today we're gonna just basically fix the chemistry engine a little bit, maybe add some extra things besides just fire. I don't know how I'm going to deal with it if there's like multiple gases in the same tile at once. But one thing I did think of, after last development's stream, after the last development stream, was we can use this texture system to blend the biomes together when we get to that point, if we want to. So now that is, adding this system has actually opened up that possibility. I don't know if we'll do that today, but it should be a lot easier now. We are still getting some issues with the origin shifting of the textures, I've noticed, in certain situations, so I'll have to fix that. I don't know if it's gonna crap out this time. Seems like so far it's fine. But yeah, last stream we kind of rushed the fire a little bit. And I was thinking of ways I could like, add more long-term visuals for the fire, but this actually looks pretty good as is, and might be the most performant thing, one of the most performant options we can do. It's just I might stylize it a little bit more, basically. That's like the only thing. And also, I want this to, I want to be able to use this, like, interchangeably with other, like, gas types. So, I'm going to need some way to, like, propagate the texture ramp information if I even want to go with that, and stuff like that. So, maybe I could use an array, but then I'd have to get that into the thing somehow, which is not ideal. Yeah, I wonder what gives fire its color in the first place. What determines the color of fire? Temperature of the flame and the chemical elements present in the burning substance. That makes sense. Yeah, fire can basically be any color. I don't think we're going to be able to get such granular chemical interactions to the point where we can actually simulate the chemical reaction causing the fire to change color in the first place, or differentiate between colors. So we're kind of just trying to figure out the most efficient way to specify color ramps if we even decide to go with that. I could just like hue shift it, perhaps. But then we can't get like the inner blue effect. Maybe we can get rid of that. See how that looks. But yeah, this already looks fine for the fire visuals themselves. Again, they just need to be stylized a little bit more. And maybe adjust the noise texture a little bit. Or maybe not. What if I make it low resolution? Or, yes, adjust it, but what if I make it low resolution? Then it almost has like a plasma look. Hmm. Could also try sampling noise in real time, but we'd have to make a noise algorithm for that. How does this look with higher frequency? Eh. Okay, so there's definitely a balance here. And I think we do have fractals going on here. One. What if we had one octave? Oh. Not much is happening. The thing that's cool about the noise textures is that it's just baked once, I'm pretty sure. And it doesn't have to like keep recalculating it. Yeah, that will make the octaves with higher frequency more apparent, which definitely seems to make it more detailed. Interesting. And change the fractal type. Not sure what we want to go for this. It's also domain warp, which seems to break up the jaggedness on this this other type of fractal. Increase the amplitude. Just doing something. It almost looks more like lightning now. Hmm. Yeah, it might be more helpful to do these noise calculations in real time, so we can adjust the parameters more quickly, but also per tile. Just like more important. That means we're going to need to store every one of the relevant noise parameters in the tiles, though. Hmm. Oh, this is kind of what I was looking for before. So I could have like pockets. Why don't I just go back to well, what's ping pong? What does that do? No. Turn that all the way up. But again, we probably want to stylize it. I mean, it doesn't look too bad right now. But it needs to be pixelized like everything else, so. Let me turn filter nearest on for this. I can't tell if that's doing anything. It's all moving too fast. Why don't we make it 64 by 64 for like the tile size? It's using filter nearest. Um Adjust the noise itself. Oh my god. The effect is really interesting. I'm not sure how many octaves would be ideal here. Is there any way we can change the like ramp? I know we can actually change the ramp. I mean, there is that. What if I change the interpolation mode? Okay. It's doing something. This might be the way to go. Looks like it has a drop shadow or something. Is there any way I could just like not make it go all around like an outline or a shadow. I mean, it'll probably look fine once I adjust it. It's just like not ideal. Base.rgb. Hold on. We should use a vector 4 here. Would it be nice to have alpha blending? Base.alpha times alpha. Okay. We can control the alpha now. Although this probably shouldn't be completely black. Technically, that's not how fire works. And there's like this distortion happening now. Oh, yeah, there is. There is a distortion happening. Yes, I think we just have to take this UV and snap it to the nearest correct point. And there's also the noise. Texture UV. Alright, I think this is fine. We just have to have like a pixel UV. Pixel UV equals maybe texture pixel size. I guess we could do that. Equals pixel UV divided by texture pixel size. I don't know if that's larger than 1 or less than 1. Okay, that's probably larger than 1. Wait, no, less than 1. Which I think is what we're going for. Yeah. Looks interesting, though. God, it's causing flickering. Yeah, why don't we floor this? And then multiply by texture pixel size. We might have to flip the order of this, that's all. Okay, that's better, but it's still distorting it. What if we put filter nearest on this as well? Hmm. I mean, this just gets the blend amount, basically, right? I mean, I could try flipping this. No, that's not what we want. The hell? Round, maybe? No. Okay, it probably has something to do with this texture here. Alright, well, I guess I can apply the same thing to the UV. Unless it just doesn't work. Wait, what are we measuring the UV in? What is this texture? Oh, this is okay. This is on a sprite. So it's probably snapping it to tile coordinates. Yeah. Hmm. Okay, well in that case, we want to multiply this by tile size and then divide. That fix it? I still see like these little slivers, but it seems better. Maybe we want to use round instead? No. And it could just be another one of those cryptic UV problems. I mean, we haven't fixed this one yet, so let's do that. Oh no. Hold on. Why don't I just do vector 2 um like divisor or dividend? I'm not sure which one it is. It's one of those. And then we divide that by the tile size. It's a little more concise. Do the same thing down here. Okay. Must have improved it a little bit. Still not great though. Could be better. Also just generally trying to make the fire look like good. Multiplying by 96 here. What is that for? Times 96. Not entirely sure. Wait, what is this value control? Oh. Yeah, it changes the amount of influence. Kind of want to adjust this a little bit. Turn it up. But then you can kind of see more repetition. Okay, maybe 0.3 is fine. Maybe 0.3 will do. I do think domain warp could be helpful. But turn down the frequency. 0.01. Then what if I turn down the amount of octaves? Like 3. Increasing this. I don't know. We also have simplex reduced, which doesn't look terrible. Oh god. I think I know what could help. I think we should add some, like, sine distortion on the y-axis. I'm going to use sine of pix uv dot y. What does that look like? Times 10. And then multiply this by, like, 0.1. I can't tell. I can't tell if that's actually doing anything. Maybe. It's hard to say. Seems like the pixelization is not working perfectly, though. What if I just use the UV? I don't know. I don't know if that's doing anything. Probably has to be much higher. Yeah. Although I kind of want to use Pix UV. Okay, maybe turn this down to 5. Now 3. Now 1. Seems like it's not doing what I want it to do. Do I have to add time, maybe? Subtract it. Uh, sorta. It almost looks like it's blowing in the wind now. Oh, but it's changing really, really slowly. We set this to, like, 1. Our value could just be too high. What if I multiply this by 8 and set this to 0.1? And sorta doing something. Not really what I want it to do. Am I doing this in the right direction? I think so. Like squashes at certain points almost. Or maybe we should just focus on this point while we do this. I think that's doing something. It looks worse. This is making it look worse. That looks fine. I think we're already getting some distortion effects anyways. I do want to change some of the ramp values though. But yeah, how do we do this now? What next? Because now I want to be able to like make it look like electricity or something if I want to. We could use multiple noise layers for that. Just multiple different textures. Like this could be the gas texture. And then if we want a gas that's like just like stagnant or whatever. Okay, well that doesn't look very good. Maybe something like that. Doesn't look terrible. Of course, the ramp texture is still doing things. Hmm. So far, all we've done is just shader stuff. Is there any HSV functions here? No. I have an idea. We could do this part procedural mostly. Get rid of the ramp texture. But we do have like multiple gases in this already. Hmm. Like we have the smoke and then we have the fire. So I guess we could think of it that way. Although I think technically smoke is not a gas, but we can just treat it like a gas. It's fine. It's fine. We probably will need some sort of layering for that. But this looks much more gas-like. Maybe we could have like an emissive layer and a matte layer. This is some other way we could do this. God, I don't know. Because basically what's happening here is there's like two gases. One is creating, it's turning into the other. Thought about doing some sort of parallax thing. That would probably be too slow. Probably not worth it. Yeah, how does this look in game now? I wonder. Let me equip Fire Breath. Looks better. It happens a bit abruptly. But I think the look of the fire is improving. Again, I don't know what this 96 is supposed to do. I mean, I guess there could be 96 tiles within the whole thing, so it could be that. Yeah. Which makes it range between 0 and 1. I see. Okay. We're getting how UVs worked for a second there. Well, we could do 256 by 256. And divide this by 2. That work? Okay, it's moving faster. How fast do we want it to move? That's a good question. Should still be pixelized at this point? No, it seems like it's gotten rid of the pixelation. Shoot. Unfortunate. Or do we want to increase the amount? We want to do 96 times 2. No, definitely not. Looks cool, though. Probably want to turn the tile size up. That's probably what we need to do. I think if I turn it down. No, let's keep it at 128. Yeah, there we go. Should be a little less repetitive. Should give us some randomization. Although again, if we create the noise functions all on our own, it would work better. Let me just look up Godot noise shader noise functions. Yeah, I'd prefer not to use a noise texture for this. Hmm. Also the ramp, maybe we could just address that really quick. Let me make a parameter called emission strength equals 0. And instead of the ramp texture, how was it getting this to begin with? I don't know. I think we want something more like this. The base is just... Okay, I see. We can use we can use a float for the base. Why don't we call this, I don't know, actually. If it's less than 1, could we reduce the alpha? What if we turn the alpha up? Does that do anything? Doesn't really create any emission. Yeah. Alright, why don't we have then a float called um emission value, which can be noise alpha times 0.4. Why don't we use alpha? Alpha to the power of emission strength. Then we're gonna have to like divide it. Okay. That didn't work. Yeah, how would you create like an HSV or just like an HDR calculator function thing? I would have an idea. But I don't know if it's the most computationally efficient. Hmm. Here are the source colors we can use. I have to calculate emission from HDR color. I do have somewhat of an idea. Yeah, I don't want to multiply them. Because if I just increase the value of the red, I eventually want it to turn white. Wait, this is emission. No, this is HDR. Oh, we gotta think of it additively. No, but even that doesn't do anything. Um, again, I could just treat it like overflow. So why don't I make a function that returns an HDR color? That may not actually be correct. So Oh god. Yeah, how am I gonna do this? It's like I need to get the maximum value. Or the length? I could try getting the length and then multiply it by that, but that could cause problems. I gotta look this up. Hold on, this could be good. Oh, the intensity is stored as a separate float? Tone mapping? I love tone mapping. Okay, well, this is something. Hmm. Logarithmic compression. Okay. So it just makes the value smaller, basically, but logarithmically. When it takes the original color value, raises it to the power of... Yeah, so logarithmic. Logarithms it. Clamps the result to the range of 0 to 1. This reduces the overall range of intensity values. Reduces the overall range of intensity values, preserving the relative differences between them. Hmm. Okay. Oh, that's converting HDR to RGB. No. No. That sounds like what I'm trying to do. This is with intensity already in the equation. Okay, well, how to calculate emission color from RGB? RGBW. Wait, what does the W stand for? It's not alpha, right? What does W mean? Oh, well, yeah, this is kind of the idea I had in mind. Something like this. Basically, by getting the maximum value, and then using that -1 to blur, to mix towards a white color. So, I guess I could try that. Float max equals color.x, color.y. Use another one. Color.z. Cool. Nailing it. And you just return mix color vector 3 1 1 1. This is not like a very good algorithm, but Whatever. And then we can use minimum 0 or maximum 0. Invalid arguments for the built-in function. Oh. Okay. Yeah, what if we try 2 HDR now? Let me multiply this by 2. Okay, just made it completely white. There we go. Yeah, I don't know. How about color.alpha times m? Something is happening with this. Whoa. As it gets hotter? No. There's nothing physically correct about this algorithm. Yeah, that looks really bad. The hell. It's like desaturating it. Ugh. I guess maybe I should think of this a different way. Keep looking. Yeah. Through code. Reddit. I don't want to multiply the RGB values by the intensity value. Not allowed. Learn OpenGL. What? Ambient? I see. Might be a better way. Um, -1. What if I don't do -1? And then instead what I do is color times that? Because again, you're trying to multiply it by like a white value. Diffuse color. adding them together. About plus vector 4, vector 4, 1, 1, 1, 0 times this value? Probably not. It's probably not the right way. But who knows? Maybe we do need this. Times 3. It's 2 times 1.3. I think that's more like what we want. Doesn't look like it's glowing though, which is the problem. Again, it just looks like it's getting desaturated. Maybe it's fine though. Maybe it's because we don't have any contrast. This function makes no sense. Hmm. I guess it's better. It's getting somewhere. What if I then added green as well? Okay. And once I get that to 2, it just becomes completely white. So it's not like perfect. Let me just say, like, how bright does a colored light have to be before it appears white? Very rhyme-filled sentence. Intensity. Hmm. Okay, Quora, come on. Your cones are overwhelmed. So, I mean, I guess the equation would be similar. You just add more white as the overall value increases on one of them. Maybe this function, maybe this algorithm will work for now. I don't know about the alpha though. That's gonna continue to like ramp up. Yeah. Well, why don't we just try something like this? Hold on. We shouldn't be using a vector 4 to begin with. Let's get a temporary value. I don't know. Something like that. Red. Maybe we should just make this vector 3. Because then we can do this. Or, you know, something more concise. Out color times... How about, power. Power of 5, maybe? Also, an ad break is about to start, which means I'm going to pause the stream for 3 minutes, and I'll be back after that. So that has started now. Okay, I have an ingenious strategy in mind. Uniform, vector 3, display, color, source color. Hopefully it's HDR. Yeah, and then why don't we say here... Oh god. I don't know. How about display color? No, but we don't even need that at this point, I don't think. No, we do. Because we need to multiply it by the alpha. And then vector 4, well, we don't even need the 2 HDR. We do. We do need the 2 HDR. Okay, we're making this vector 4 again. It's time. Also, I think I know a better way than to use the max value. Here, let me do this. Color.x minus 1. Oh, we're gonna need to use... Okay, I guess we are still gonna need to use it. Maybe we'll just stick with this for now. Alright, 2 HDR, vector 4. We construct it from a vector 3 and a float? We can, okay. Wait, really? Oh. Okay, now we can change the display color. We're getting a similar effect, but now we can make it red or orange. It seems like the HDR thing is actually working pretty well. Now we just want to turn this into different steps. Although I don't know if we're still getting the smoke or not. For some reason it looks like it is creating like a smoke value, but I think that's just because of the multiplication of the colors. We can change this to blend mode add, but we don't want it to do that all the time. And we'll let add on to itself, you know? Which we also wouldn't want. But like if I turn this down, it's not really doing much. Hmm. So we don't need emission strength if we're just specifying the display color. Which I guess we could do in 3 separate textures. Whatever. Yeah, we should be able to slot the textures in properly. Oh. I see. Okay. Yeah, if we're already applying power here, it's gonna make it look brighter by default. But we only want this to start happening once we add more than 1 to this. So maybe I could turn this into another parameter that could be controlled. Again, I really don't know if I want to do all the noise value stuff um, in real time, like getting all the noise values that way. I could get like some basic information from the textures and then just multiply like I could have the power thing be controlled by some sort of texture parameter, and I could have like 2 textures and blend between them using another one to account for the type. Then wouldn't they just be like stacked together? Shoot. Okay. Maybe we should make this a little more like easy for ourselves. Although I do want to do the Stepify thing. So how am I gonna do that? Um Alpha equals the alpha times 8 round divided by 8. Okay. When do we make this a uniform? Default to like 6. Okay, that doesn't do anything. Right, I'm not actually using the value. Genius. There we go. Now we can like control the amount of steps in it. Maybe something like that. Can we increase the saturation? I think we might want to decrease like the value for that maybe. I don't know. Maybe we should have control over the exponent. But that could be like a texture thing as well. That's the problem. Okay, this can make it brighter, faster. Yeah, and it's still giving us like some level of smoke just normally. Oh, then we have like an a thing we're adding here. Oh, wow. Okay. It's a lot. And there's nothing. Why don't I call this offset? But again, we do want to control these through the texture values. Okay. I think a compromise is in order here. Could still put these things into categories though, just to more easily customize them. But I'm thinking we might do something like fire amount, and then you can control the fire color. Maybe the fire color. That would require 3 values though. The fire. Maybe hue, fire hue. And you could have fire amount or something. Then we need to calculate RGB from hue. How to calculate RGB from hue. Yeah, because I don't want to use 3 values for this. If only the hue is needed, it's not required to divide the 55. Now I don't want to get the hue. I want to get a color from a hue. Okay, HSV to RGB function. Shoot. Okay, well here's like real math. Um, C equals value times saturation. X equals, and then all this crazy stuff that I can't read. That's absolute value. H divided by 60 degrees. U divided by 60 degrees. Would that be in radians then? Mod 2 minus 1. In code. Hold on, what is this? JavaScript. Oh god. We just need to convert the hue to an RGB value, so if hue ranges between 0 and 1, where this is 0 and this is 1, it just goes back to red. RGB. The RGB values here. Green fire. From hue. Float hue. And we'll return a vector 3, 1.0, 0.0, 0.0, mixed to green using something. Some sort of value. I think we'll need like 4 mix values in total here. Then we want hue. Hold on, what do we want? We need the range. Remap. This will just return something between 0 and 1. Value minus P minimum. Oh, float difference equals P max minus P minimum. Value minus P minimum times, or divided by difference. Right? So like if it's 0.4, it's going to get it up to 1 by the time it gets there. Then we return clamp between 0 and 1. Although that could be toggleable, I suppose. Use that here. Remap hue from 0 to 1 divided by 3. On step 1 equals 1 divided by 3, so we don't have to calculate that every time. Const float. Oh, and then we want to mix to vector 2, vector 3, 0, 1, 0. And then what if instead of display color, just for testing, we're going to say display hue. And we can say out color equals from hue, display hue. Okay. Actually works. It's kind of awesome. So this will fully work. And just for consistency and readability, just do that. So then we have to mix 2 more times, so maybe it's only 3 mixes. I guess there's multiple ways I could do this. Wait. Oh god. I don't know. I think we actually want to do it like this. Maybe not. Right now I'm thinking of adding them together. At that point it is going to be green though, so we should be able to mix it again. Okay. This could work. Color equals mix. Color. Vector 3, 0, 0, 1. Remap. Hue. From step 1 to step 2. Turn color. Now we should be able to go to blue. And then we'll want to go back to red. Okay, it seems to work pretty well. Getting deja vu. And then from step 2 to step 3. I could do like a step 0. Okay, why not? Make this a little more readable. Will be nice to our implementation here. And then I could also start by saying color equals vector 3, 1, 0, 0. And then start like this. Okay. We can also do hue equals hue modulo 1. So it wraps around. Does it function correctly? Like we start at 0. By the time we get to 1, be red. This seems to have no like increase. Oh. It goes back to red. Okay. There we go. It works. It totally works. Be nice if I didn't have to rewrite a bunch of basic things, but, you know. Actually, what can you do? Here, let me incorporate the offset here. Okay. This could just be like our fire amount almost. Like start at 0 and then 0.3 is like our max value. Also, a couple things here. We want to start turning some of these into uniforms, not this thing. We could do shader language. Isn't there a way to add property groups? Like parameter groups? Uniform groups? Uniform hints? Hint enum? Yeah, here it is. Okay. Group uniforms. Why don't we call this one fire? Or we could group them by like texture and then values. I think I'll do fire because the implementations could be slightly different between them. Or significantly different. Who knows? Okay, and then uniform sampler 2D fire texture. Source color. Repeat enable. Wait. No, filter nearest. And I think we won't need this thing. It's nice. So we can now copy this and paste it into our fire texture. And we could have like maybe 16 textures in total. We'll see. We'll see what happens. It's 8-bit. Well, right now it is. Ultimately, though, it's going to be 32-bit single channel. So yeah, now instead of sampling our texture, we can sample fire texture. Oh no, it's not good. It is the exact same texture. What the hell? Right? Be sure it is. Hmm. Oh, we do want to filter linear. Get to do that. Okay, there we go. Now it's identical. And we probably want to separate this into its own function. Vector for get fire. Also gonna need the fire hue. Okay, well, we can do all these things. There could be a way to reuse some of these textures because if it's a different shader, then we're gonna have all these redundant textures that we don't need. Not sure how I will do that though. Maybe like uniform groups or something. Do we have to pass the UV in? Hope not. Okay, we might have to. Redefinition of UV. Okay, shut up. Please. We can't use texture pixel size either. Oh, well, we could do this. Texture size. That's the texture size though. Okay, maybe it'll be the same. I don't know. Invalid argument. Level of detail 0. High vector 2. The hell. But also it's a redefinition. Okay, now it just doesn't work, but we gotta try this. There we go. Okay. Change the hue. Be more fire-like. If we want. Okay, now we want to go to canvas. That's just where we happen to be doing it right now. But what we actually want to do is get material and then do set shader parameter. Set it to, or set the value of fire texture. Do the texture. It should do it. And we can test that. Hopefully everything's saved. We were really just modifying the code. Go back here. That's chameleon tongue. Okay, it seems wrong. Seems very wrong. I don't like it. Here, let me run through Godot if it'll... Oh, God. Oh, God, please. Make it stop. Did I save the shader? Let me run it through Godot, make sure there's no errors, and if not, I might know what's going on. Perhaps. It could be multiplying the coordinates by an incorrect amount. No, but we're not adding to the UV when we sample the fire texture. So, this is bullshit. Much faster doing it this way. It's uh, highly bearable, very fun. Having so much fun right now. That looked more correct. I keep picking the wrong upgrade. Damn it. Okay. The offset could be incorrect. Oh, yeah. I mean, look at that. Okay. Wait, what? Why? What if I set this back to 96? No noticeable difference. We get any errors? I don't see any errors here. Yeah, I'm not sure. Um, using UV here as well. Shoot. Yeah, I feel like this was working before. Now it's not working. It's doing the opposite of working. Maybe we need to turn repeat on or repeat off. Oh, it didn't even clear the texture that time. Seems. Maybe it's because I didn't click the start button initially. Then I clicked it after. I clicked it the second time. Hmm. Is this is this still within the correct chunk range? Yeah, then it seems to do something. Is it spawning particles? I don't know. Seems like it's just spawning fire now in random places. Close the editor. Damn it. I hate when that happens. I have to wait like 5 million years to run it through the editor. I have to run it through C++ like a psychopath. All right, I'm going to check again for any sort of shader problems. I still can't tell if the size is incorrect or not. I wonder if like my initial suspicion was correct. Divided by tile size, which would reduce the value. Texture size, I'm pretty sure is going to be pixels. Oh, but we're already doing 1 divided by. Okay. All right, let's run it. By the way, we could use this for some of our fire particles. We'd have to use some sort of like... I know you can use includes in this shader language, which is helpful, so we might be able to reuse some of this stuff for particles as well. But we also need to reuse the uniforms themselves. So that'll be interesting. Okay. Make sure the output is clear. What the hell? What's wrong with the editor? It's just unresponsive. What's up, Arctic? No fire yet. And when I breathe fire. Yeah, it's like... Not sure why it's doing that. Seems like the fire is larger than it was before, though. Almost like it's the size of 2 tiles or something. I mean, it was working with this size before, though, for the sprite. Which is 64 by 64. It should be connected to the size of this. And we already tried adjusting this. I don't think it's making any difference. Let me just turn this back down to completely rule this out. But it's 256. Oh my god. That would be a lot. We have the divider. Will this work now? Hold on. Did we fix it? I don't know. I don't even know if we fully ruled it out yet. Fire texture divided by tile size. which is currently increased. So let me turn that back down to 64 by 64. So, okay, I don't know if that's doing anything yet. Yeah, if the tile size was twice as large, I guess that could be messing something up. Just generally sampling things in the wrong way. It seems like the fire might be smaller now. It still doesn't work. Oh, shit, that's frustrating. Why not? Is it because we're using it as a uniform now? Is that why? Is that what's causing this? Yeah, let's try re-implementing the thing from before. Texture equals. I just replace these with texture, which of course we can't use now in our function. God damn it. So we'll do both. Can't believe I'm doing this. Oh, it doesn't work. Wow. Struggling with infinite procedural terrain generation. Do you have any advice? Uh, my advice is to slow down, because that is usually the problem I have with implementing procedural generation. Take more time to actually like analyze what you're looking at that's telling you how to do it. Okay, we've ruled more things out. I guess the texture size could be different. Hmm. Yeah, that might be it. What are you working on? Oh yeah, must be that. I'm trying to improve the fire in this game. Well, I guess we could do both for now. I mean, I don't see why if I switch it back at this point, it wouldn't work. Who knows? We'll see. Okay, I don't want to be modifying the texture. Is something broken here? Try that again. Is it connecting to the console? I'm not sure. No, it's not clearing it. What the hell? Okay, let me run it through Godot. Like, it's not duplicating the texture, I know that. It's gonna take 5 million years. Awesome. Okay, did we get any hints? Any hints about what's going on here? Not really, no. Now it just works again. When it comes to making something with Godot, what do you start with besides analyzing the project? Um, I'll pretty much just implement any mechanic, whichever feels most apt. Maybe it could be one that I'm just excited to add. Okay, well, will that work in C++ mode? It better. Okay, it does. So I guess it just needed to update or something, I don't know. Lame. We do want to be able to set the bushes on fire, though, probably. So does order matter in the grand scheme of things? It depends. Depends what you're doing. Like, if you are making a procedural terrain generation system, but you have no way to, like, show the terrain first, then it could be problematic. But as long as there isn't anything like that, then yeah, it doesn't necessarily matter. But order is, you know, yeah, it just depends what you're making, really. Order could be really, really important, and it could just be not that important. We also have these instances where we have less fire. It seems like it's already doing what I would expect it to do for that, which is just to reduce the amount, basically. Oh god, it almost feels like we're gonna need an animation for this or something. How? How would that be done? Also, what is the time measured in the shader? I think that would also be helpful to know. At this point, we can still change the hue of the fire. Whenever that's gonna be helpful, I don't know. I don't know if it'll ever be helpful. Green fire, we get a blue fire, purple fire. Adjust the steps. Maybe I should do more of the CPU stuff first before I move on to the... Yeah, maybe I should do that, actually. That might be good. Yeah, let me also do something else really quick. Add something to the shader. Let me, 0.3 noise. Alpha plus equals offset. Here we'll use mix 0 to offset using color dot R. Still don't see the other one though. Getting a lot of deja vu today. I don't know why. Well, then those ones become visible. Huh. Yeah, again, the exponent, could be messing it up in certain ways. So what if I set the exponent to 1? Offset to 1, maybe, or just 0? I suppose. Then we're getting some of it. Um, how do I exponent but start at the same spot? I don't know if it's necessarily possible. We could add it. Try adding the value. Okay. Why do we do this offset and then we say, hold on. Alpha equals power alpha exponent. Then we can say alpha equals minimum or alpha equals maximum alpha color.r. Maybe. Yeah, but then we get this sort of problem. Also, it still looks like bad. Or maybe we need to add the exponent back, an offset. Okay, sure. Doesn't look great though. I could just add an insane offset like this. Maybe it should represent when the fire starts. That way we don't have to worry about like updating it every frame. Like we could store that in the texture. And if it equals 0, we just do nothing. Okay. If color equals 0, then return. Or if color.r equals 0. Is this allowed? Oh. Need one of these. What? Color equals vector 3, 1, 0, 0. So we just don't have to worry about it now. Okay, fine. Vector 4. Whatever. Also, there's going to be an ad break in 45 seconds. I'm going to pause the stream for 3 minutes for that. Yeah, we don't need this anymore. Alpha plus equals offset. Turn it down, maybe? Oh, no. It's gotten rid of the blending. Shit. That's not good. We would have to sample the different. We'd have to like do our own sampling algorithm. Oh god. All right. Well, I'll be back in 3 minutes. I gotta think. I'm thinking about things. Okay, I think basically what we'll need here is a separation between... You know what? Would that even... Oh, God. Oh, no. I was gonna say we need a separation between the bilinear... Or the linear and nearest sampling, but then, like, I was thinking, well, what if you want to change the color of the fire, you know, slowly? It's like we have to do some sort of processing for the tiles. Shoot! This is unfortunate. Indeed, indeed. It would definitely have to be multi-threaded as well. Oh god. I don't know if I want to... Oh, that's like a big thing to implement. Shoot. Alright, let's go back. Let's go back. Please. Don't worry about this. Let's work on the CPU side of things for a little bit, because there's some things we definitely have to fix there. Um, hmm. Yeah, let's go to the profile. Profile. Tile profile. Heat.energy is greater than or equal to auto ignition temperature. That's not how we want to do it. So that's the first thing. We're also going to need CPU data. Get data. Oh my god. It's a lot. Oh, it doesn't even work. Right. I forgot about that. Shoot. Could do another texture, I suppose. No, but then all of it's gonna shift. Oh god. We need a way to store data in the tiles without like automatically sending it to the GPU. Basically. So that way we can keep track of like the temperature, stuff like that. Could just use another collection, I suppose. Could work. It could only be one data type, you know? That's the thing. That is the thing. That. Probably all we can do, though. Yeah. Okay. Well. Does that mean we're gonna have to add something else here? Yeah. Alright. It is very necessary. We're just using an array right now. No, it's a vector of strings. Okay. GPU data layers, we'll call this CPU data layers. Maybe we should make an actual type for it at some point. Do declare function. Declare property. Set CPU data layers. Vector of strings. Thank you. Where is our register whatevers? Do register property. CPU data layers. I guess we can copy this. Gotta make sure we change all of these. Set GPU data, get GPU data, get GPU texture. We could combine these into just get data and set data, or set data, get data, and we can keep that as is. Yes, we want to rename these, so instead of get GPU data, we just want get data and set data. Like that. Now we gotta look for the implementation. Like 80 billion things you have to fix in C++. GPU data lookup dot get layer. Oh, there's a GPU data lookup. We could just turn this into a shared data lookup. Yeah. Hopefully none of them share the same name. No. We should separate. We should actually separate these. That's fine. If GPU data lookup dot GPU data lookup has wait. Yeah, we still need the index. That's fine. If GPU data lookup dot has layer. Oh, we don't want them to have the same names though. So no, we can do this. Else if okay, else if CPU data lookup has layer, do something similar. Data.get position. Data.set position T. Oh, now we can add the CPU data. And because we've moved all of our saving and loading functions in here, we can just do it this way, which is nice. There might be some other things we have to worry about, though. For sure. Wait, how is that value obtained? Oh. Well, that should help instantly identify any errors we might have then. Um, so yeah, if CPU data lookup has layer, then we say we don't have to worry about any of the images. CPU data set the value. Which should now be shifting. Hmm. Then we have these errors. Right. CPU data layers dot size. What's up, Arctic? You think using an add-on for Godot is cheating? No. CPU data layers dot size. Okay. That should be everything. Wait. We gotta make sure we can set the data. Or get the data. If GPU data lookup has GPU data lookup has layer return the layer information. Otherwise, else if CPU data lookup dot has layer return I think what we want is data.get position dot CPU data dot get CPU data lookup dot get layer. Yeah, because here we're trying to like enforce the idea that it must be on the CPU or the GPU. And then here we'll just return 0. How about -1? Why not? I think if it doesn't have any data for that. Could be a little more descriptive than just returning 0. Lame. We might want to add error support here. No, we don't have to. It's fine. Get GPU texture. Yep, that should still work. Let's make sure we're initializing GPU or the CPU data lookup. Okay, we have that. What now? Hopefully that's everything for that. How are we initializing the data though? The tiles. There's populate terrain job. Yeah, okay. There's another thing we have to do. CPU data layer count. Go back to spawner. GPU data layer count. There's multiple? Oh my god, there's so many. CPU data layer count equals CPU data layers dot size. Same thing here for structure job. Fortunately, they inherit in a way that allows us to do this more easily. Then we go back to populate brain job. CPU data. There we go. Make sure we change that. Build, rebuild, it's time. So now we can have data that is just on the CPU. We could merge the data for the tiles, like it could be one shared collection. Yeah, It should still like shift around and everything. Truly the most exciting part of the stream, I must say. This has been a pretty low energy stream. Not only in my expressions, but also how I feel. Could have worked on a new biome today, would have made me energized, but no, it's we're churning again. We're back to churning, you know, which is a necessary part of the process, but I don't like to churn. I like to taste test, so to speak. Okay, extending the analogy here. I like to try. I like to add spices. Okay, I, how do you? Yeah, dude, like that. I like to see what works. Okay, I like having my base. I like interchanging different spices in it and retesting that. Okay. I don't like the initial churning process that's just repetitive and it requires a lot of effort and you're just churning over and over again. Boring. I want to get some spices going, you know? But the more we churn, the more delicious our batter will be. So it's worth it. It's all part of the process. All right. What do we have here? Well, we want to give them a temperature now. We want to give every tile its own temperature. Whoa. Whoa. Wow. Temperature. Okay. I added a little thing to... Here, let me scroll down. So it'll show it. Go! Okay, you can barely see it, but I added something called temperature here. Looks like this one, but it's for the CPU. Okay, now I'm gonna go to tile, profile, profile, and get data, set data. Let's get rid of these. Well, about get file set data. You can't really set it. That's the problem. But at this point, we should be able to use set data and get data, which works for either the CPU or the GPU. Cool. Let's see if it still works. I hope. Hope it does. You can also use properties here. Okay, still works fine. But now we can control the temperature and then just have it activate once it surpasses a certain amount. There's that. Here, I'm gonna put these properties after these functions. Yeah, so var temperature float. And how do we do this? Set something like this. Set data temperature value. Get return get data temperature. So now we can just set it like a variable. I'm thinking we probably will have to have a reference to our tile in our tile action. So we don't have to like recreate all of these in tile action as well. I don't know, we'll see. We will see. Maybe it shouldn't be connected. No, it should probably be connected at some point. And now what I want to do is temperature. Oh, we need like a heat transfer rate. For now, we'll just add it. Plus equals. Do this. Would be nice. Oh, you know, why don't we do that here? Yeah. Temperature plus equals heat dot energy. Then we can say if temperature is greater than or equal to auto ignition temperature, return true. Wait. Yeah, okay. Hydration. God, I don't even know what electrical conductivity is. Also, are there macros in GDScript? I don't know. There might be. People seem to have made plugins. I don't know if there's macros in GDScript though, unfortunately. Very sad. Well, we can compress this down a bit, right? Maybe not. Okay. No. Maybe we can do this though. Okay, that's a bit better. Hmm. All right, let's test that because now we're using CPU data. Let's probably test it using C++ because a lot of our stuff that we just added is C++ related. Yeah, the energy should be enough to basically immediately set it on fire. So, there's that. That's like the first thing. Now, there's another thing I wanted to do. Um, I forget. I forget what it is. There's like some other interaction that goes on. Oh, I think it had to do with the projectile. Yeah, the area projectile. We gotta alter this a little bit. I don't even know if I ultimately want to use this, but there's something better we can do for sure. We'll start by making a signal on contact. Is that a good one? But on collision. And inside we will pass... I think this is how you structure the signal. Is it a dictionary or an array? Or hit in result? If we wanna... I don't know if I want to pass in the node or not necessarily. Suppose this could work. Node 2D or node position. On collision dot emit. How about on collide? That might be better. What does this inherit from? Projectile. I'm not sure what projectile is. Maybe a node 2D. On collide dot emit with the arguments enemy and hit dot point. Or should we just pass the entire hit in? I don't know. I'm going to move this down here. So on collide.emit file map hit.point. We're going to get rid of this. Then we're going to go to the emitter and do some things here. So somehow we gotta correlate this now to our element. Forget what our element does, so it might be time to add some new information to the element attribute. Yep. Oh no. Actually, I don't know if this will work or not. Shoot. If I go to status effect, that's not a resource. We could make them resources so we could also export them. It's possible. Breath attribute. Yeah, we definitely want to put it in here. And I guess we'd just be writing the logic wherever, but, you know. We'd be writing it in the heat status effect instead. Or we could do the inheritance manually, or just here. Give us a lot more control. Although we could also just do it all through status effects. Which, you know, then we could reuse the status effects. We wouldn't have to use the element attribute specifically. So, you know, there is that. But also, if we want to increase the strength of the heat of the fire, how are we gonna, you know, do that? Hmm. I do not know. Alright, I think we'll use the export thing. Export var status effects game status effect. And we'll make these resources. Maybe like a script reference would be better. I don't know. Because again, how are we going to determine the energy that's used? I mean, we could make a function for that in the game status effect the same way we have get position. We could have set energy. Which will just do nothing by default. But then in our heat status effect, it can do something. So maybe we don't have to make the game status effects resources yet. Then we have to reference a script, which is one of them, which is kind of frustrating. Okay, maybe I will make it a resource. And for now, we just refer to the types, at least. Do that. So, breath attribute. No, I think it's element attribute. Yeah. Status effects. Let me go to fire. This is gonna show up. Also, it should be an array. Okay. We'll add heat status effect because it has no export values, we're just able to make like an instance of it that is stored. So, I mean, that'll work. Trying to think of how we want to now cue the element to do its thing. For now, let's put it where we immediately need it. And then if it becomes like a bad idea later on, we can change it. So breath attribute. Or is it, yeah, breath emitter. And what do we want? Where's the projectile? Here it is. Projectile instance dot. Oh god. Okay. Area projectile. On collide. Dial. Move that into just projectile. Go back to breath emitter. And then we can say projectile instance dot on collide dot connect function on collide node 2D position vector 2. Then we can connect on collide. And yeah, then we copy the thing from the area projectile. So this. And the cool thing about this is that now the heat is going to apply to the enemies as well. Which totally wasn't doing before. I swear. But we don't want to do it exactly like this. 250. We can do that for now, but we kind of want to switch this up. So we have a reference to our element at least, right? Particles. Timer. No, do we not? Do we not have that? Oh shoot. That's not good. Layers. Distance timer is local. Well, we could have another signal here. Or a callable. We could use a callable instead. So we're delaying it again. Okay, and then emitter dot on collide. This function node New 2D, position, vector 2. Then we paste all this stuff. But we're not quite there yet. We have to say for element in elements. For status effect in element dot status effects. Var effect equals status effect duplicate effect dot set energy as game status effect effect dot set energy 250 effect dot set position. No, get position, that's all I see. Okay, does it matter? Does it matter what the position is? I guess. This is just like what properties do. Okay. And then we do something, of course. Heat dot set or E dot set position. Hit dot point. And then apply status effect E. So now we can use whatever status effect is hooked up to the element. Identifier hit not declared wrong. No, we can say position. Identifier tile map. Oh, shoot. Node. We can use the node. Alright, now we will run. There's a good chance it won't work. Maybe it will. Does not appear to be working. It's like it's not throwing the error anymore in C++ whenever I click the X, which is interesting. Yeah, the energy should instead be whatever the essence we're putting into it is. So, yeah, that's going to have to affect various things. I'd have to use some sort of multiplier. The energy. No, it should be 1 to 1. 1 essence equals 1 watt. 1 watt in the game. No, I mean that's how we balance it. 1 essence used in any way should make you equally more OP. Statistically speaking. It's the goal. Of course, that won't end up being completely 100% correct, because we do want players to be able to create some level of like OP builds. But, you know, we also want there to be balance. Valid access to property or key position on a base object of type nil. Hmm. Really? Temperature getter. Effect. No context when you're calling this? Idiot? If projectile dot effect, or if profile dot effect. Yeah. Are we not creating a context for it? No. We're only creating when we replicate it. What the hell? Okay, let's fix that. Um, layer equals 2. Position equals... I think it should be the same. Map to local position. Wait, we're already calling it locally, so we're just gonna be creating the context again, I think. Okay. Run, I suppose. Okay, it seems to be working. So it's kind of like a cooler version of what we had before. I would need to time it somehow. We could use individual timers for every instance of the fire, I guess. I guess we could do that. Not sure how else. I mean, we could have like a data collection that we check back on in 5 seconds. I don't know. We edit every second or something. Just use timers. Should it be too slow? So, yeah, let me go to, where have we been doing this? Breadth attribute? I think it'd be the heat status. What the hell? No, it'd be in tile map. No. It'd be in the profile. Okay. Things are getting a little disjointed. Things are getting a little... The systems are becoming a little sporadic. Not necessarily a bad thing. Return true. Yeah. Set data. Okay, this should also be getting called locally, so we can say get tree. Okay, maybe this doesn't work. Game data.g get tree create timer. After 5 seconds, it will just destroy it for now. Dot timeout dot connect. Let me just use this. So after 5 seconds, it should destroy it. Hold on, we can make an anonymous function here. Then we have to bind it. No, we don't, because we already have access to that information. Okay. Yeah, after 5 seconds, we'll destroy it. And we'll set data fire to 0. Hopefully context still works at that point. Let's run it through here just to make sure we don't have any errors going on. I don't know if it's going to create like a copy of the context object. It's probably going to be using the reference now. Ooh, that's not good. That's bad. That is bad. So we could turn it into values, I suppose. Or we could just try not to hit any other trees. But no, let me just confirm my suspicions and trigger the error. It probably will error. Probably will throw an error. Be honest. Oh my god, this is so unbearably long. I finally got rid of the ads that Brave browser was giving me. Which you can do. They're just like they just like throw the ads on you and they're like, "Hey, do you want to watch these ads, pretty please?" But you can turn them off. Well, nothing is happening. It might just be destroying the tile somewhere else. Yeah, if we like capture these, perhaps. But then we have to do it with set data. It's not good. Okay, we can try running the project now. Is it time? Cool. They don't play a sound though. I don't understand why. Maybe because we're queue freeing them? No. I feel like it should be something else. Destroy tile. Oh. Okay. Then we're gonna have to execute the action with the context as well, which we don't necessarily have. Shoot. This sucks. What the hell? Oh my god. We have to, like, convert it back to this. Yeah. Action.context equals context. Okay. We're gonna have to do some work here at some point, but for now, I'm gonna just do this. Action.context. File context. New context dot position equals position. New context dot layer equals layer. G position Global pause. New context dot global position equals gpause. Action dot context equals context. Yep. Right? Yeah. If is local action dot execute local action dot execute. That's another thing that's also going to be changed. Shit. Oh no. Unless we duplicate the resources every time this happens. Yeah, the timing, like, it can't happen. Unless we make a temporary duplicate of the current thing. Which might actually work better. Sure. Dot connect function. Dupe dot context as tile profile dot context dot layer dupe dot context dot position. Why don't we just pass in the game collide effect or something? Maybe. Set data position fire 0. Yeah, sure. And then at that point we can say for action in on destroy. The sub resources and stuff. That should be fine. I hope. Game data, no. Duplicate dot execute action. It's not gonna duplicate the sub resources. Let's see what happens. I'm not even sure if it would work in an array. But yeah, it's creating like a temporary copy that we can use. It stores the state. Okay, it's very clean. Also, I don't know if I showed this yet, but this is like the hardest Cyberpunk screenshot of all time. I just want to point this out. Okay. Moving on. I gotta finish I still haven't beaten the game. Alright, fire breath. Error. No error. Okay. But after 5 seconds, what happens? Unfortunate. Does it go out of scope? What happens? No, this is an actual object. Temperature. Why is it trying to set the temperature? Where's this happening? Did it set data? No. Is it still connected to all the signals, maybe? Um, does the context count as a sub-resource? It might. It might. Okay, new plan. Is local is going to become part of tile context. It's time. Well, this would always be local, right? Does it only matter when we replicate it? Oh, I don't know. I think so. As in, it doesn't matter when we don't replicate it. I'll just keep it like that for now. Yeah. Okay. So then we'll go back to our profile and switch this around a little bit. So we're actually going to duplicate, if it'll let us, our context. Okay. Context isn't a resource though, is it? It is? Huh, okay. Doesn't seem right. Maybe that's why it didn't work before, but I don't know if it'll work with ref canon either. Either way, this is probably a better way to do it. So we can say context equals duplicate destroy context dot whatever. That again. All right. That way we don't have to like interface with some other duplicated version of the current resource. Waiting. See if I have any other screenshots on my Brave browser. Yeah, I have this one. Might have shown these on the stream before. I have one more. Oh my god, come on! Yeah, I have this one, which is supposed to look like a picture being taken, but I think it kind of does that. It was a funny moment. It's a funny cyberpunk moment. I was like, this would be good with a screenshot. Okay. Now we wait. Something broke somewhere. I don't know if it was these trees. Maybe we can try that again. Oh, because the origin shifting. There's so much shit. There's so much shit that you have to do. Oh, it sounds so bad. No. Oh. Is it happening here? Dude, what the hell? We almost had it working at one point. Should we try to access the duplicate directly? No, because then we have all these other things. Are we setting the position? I feel like we should be. But for whatever reason, it's destroying them like at the origin. Try again. Oh, that's really hard on the ears. I don't like it. It's not even getting rid of the fire. Would this like go out of scope? I don't understand. Might have to bind something to it. That might be why. It might have to be bound. One of our solutions worked before though. It was like turning the position into a local variable. We still need to execute these actions some other way. We could recall the function on tile map, maybe. Yeah, game effect. Alright, maybe we'll try it. Oh god, where's tile profile? So we don't necessarily have to duplicate the context at this point. We just do this. And then we can go here. I guess we do want to set the position. Or set the fire data. And then we can go here. Game data.g dot spawner dot tile map dot effect. Okay, hold on. Game dot apply status effect. That. And then E equals. Also, there's about to be an ad break, so I'll pause the stream for 3 minutes. Game collide effect dot new. What do we compare here? E dot collision dot impulse. Oh, I might have to create something for the collision. There's gotta be some way to override it. This is bullshit. We'll figure it out when I get back. Okay. I gotta think. Gotta power my brain. Okay, I will be back in 3 minutes when it starts. All right, we're back. We're gonna figure this out. I'm thinking that just for now, at least, a function called destroy tile that takes in a context. Yeah, a variable, no, a function. And we say context equals context, p context. We'll rename this to. And then we just copy this. And we should be able to bind it at that point. So hold on. Now we're gonna do two. We're gonna do two of these. Timer.timeout.connect. Destroy tile. Dot bind. Context.duplicate. Come on, that's gotta be the one. And it's a duplicate. So it should be like insanely OP. Works first try. Okay, well the fire is being gotten rid of now, at least. I don't get why we can't duplicate the context though, man. The hell? Oh, probably because they're not being exported. That's probably why. So we're gonna make a function in context. First of all, you're not a resource. What the hell? Var duplicate return tile context tile contexter. Why do I keep saying var? Okay. Var new equals tile context dot new. New dot position equals position. New dot global position equals global position. Again, the origin shifting could get messed up. Let's see. New dot layer equals layer. New dot is local equals is local. Yeah, hopefully when we destroy the tiles, we're doing that like in a global way. A way that's global. Not all code paths return a value. You should stop talking. Tile profile. Back here. I think yeah, context.duplicate, which should still work at this point. Let's run it through here. But again, the origin shifting, it could get messed up, so there's that. I do see destroy tile though, so you know, we'll see. We will see. Yeah, I guess if it goes out of scope, like, did we destroy it still at that point? I guess. I guess we could. That when we come back, all the trees will be gone. We are storing some sort of global position in there. Maybe that'll help. For now, I'm just going to try not to move very much when I do it. Okay, it works. It's extremely loud, and I hate it, but it works. It really hurts my ears. Can we use a limiter? Oh my god. Awful. That's actually really bad. But it works. Wow, first try, first try. Now I want to see with destroy tile. Oh, it's on the tile map. I don't know how I feel about that. Were we replicating it before somehow? I know we were. We were using like game position or something like that. Game effect. Again, was it a spawner thing? There's erase entity. Replicate entity freed. Solve entity authority. Set entity authority. On entity dynamic. Yeah, because it could all get like fucked up if we shift chunks before the timer reaches 0, which is extremely easy to do. I don't know what the tile destroyed thing does. I forget. Well, we're replicating this right here. Oh, and that's where we calculate the position. Right. Okay. Chunk position, position. So we'd have to like recalculate this part. Okay, well that would be manageable enough. Yeah. Get chunk bounds dot size, spawner dot chunk position. Cool. Okay. Yeah, so we just recalculate this part. Hmm. Could even make a function for it. Okay, well we know what to do. Although I'm probably gonna end the stream here. And maybe we'll fix it at some other point, but we know what to do now. We finally we've gotten the fire in the game established more fully, and that'll basically allow us to start adding other chemical interactions at some point. But now that I think about it, how would like fire spread? Oh shit. Ideally we do want to implement some sort of cellular automata, which would also help with the burning and stuff. So, yeah. But I'm gonna end it here. So, thank you everyone who stopped in. Thank you, Arctic, the only chatter today. I will see you all tomorrow. Yeah. All right. Thanks again, everyone. Take care. See you later.